Welcome back to the OBM Show. I'm your host, Sarah Noked, and today we're talking about one of the most difficult and probably gut-wrenching and powerful decisions you can really make as a business owner, and we are talking about firing a client. I know, even saying it feels a little harsh, but I want you to think about a specific client right now. You know the one. When you see their name pop up in your messages, your stomach clenches. You find yourself procrastinating on their tasks, not because the work is hard, but because the energy it takes to deal with them is draining. You celebrate when they cancel a meeting. For so many OBMs, we are conditioned to believe, and because we're heart of service, that keeping every client is a sign of success. But the truth is, real leadership, real CEO energy isn't about who you say yes to, it's about who you have the courage to say no to. And this episode is for every OBM who is holding onto that client relationship that has expired, a relationship that is draining your energy, disrespecting your boundaries, and holding your business back from its next level of growth. Today, we're gonna give you the clarity to know when it's time to walk away and a step-by-step plan to do it with grace, professionalism, and confidence. Let's be honest about why this is so hard. The number one reason that we cling to bad fit clients is fear, plain and simple. It's a scarcity mindset that's whispering in your ear. If you let go of this income, you'll never replace it. But it actually goes deeper than that, because for many of us, it's a deeply ingrained people-pleasing tendency from one people pleaser to the next. I know, we build our careers on being helpful and reliable. And the idea of letting someone down feels like a failure to our core identity. There's also this sunk cost fallacy at play. The feeling that you can't leave because you're already investing so much time and energy, and you have already invested so much time and energy trying to make it work. You think to yourself, if I have just one more system, or I try just one more system, or I have one more conversation, maybe it will get better. But I want to offer you a new perspective. Offboarding a client who is no longer a fit isn't a failure. It's a strategic business decision. It's like pruning a plant. And you guys know I used to have a landscaping company back in the day, almost 15 years ago, and I love my plants. You have to cut away branches that are no longer looking good. Or if you got some lime trees like I do, you got to cut away the branches that are no longer bearing fruit to make space for new and healthier growth. And when you allow a draining client to take up space in your business, you are actively blocking the energy, the time, and the mental capacity required to call in the dream clients you are meant to serve. So how do you know if you are in just a tough season with a client or if the relationship is fundamentally broken? Let's walk through the signs. So the first sign of a client that you need to dump is persistent scope creep and lack of respect for your work. Now, I know that this seems obvious, and this is probably the most common one. It starts with a quick favor here, or can you just look into this? And soon you find yourself spending your Sunday afternoon redesigning a presentation slide that wasn't in the plan because they have a last minute meeting on Monday. Now, when you try to set boundaries or point out that this request is outside of the scope, you're met with defensiveness or guilt. This isn't just about the money, my friends. It's a fundamental lack of respect for your professional boundaries and the value of your time. So if a client is constantly pushing the scope, they don't see you as a strategic partner. They see you as endlessly available and a resource that they can take advantage of. Not fun. Now, the second sign is there's a fundamental values misalignment. And this is really often overlooked, but it's subtle and very important. You believe in calm, systematized growth, but your client thrives in chaos, last-minute fire drills, and a company culture of burnout that they inflict on you and the team. Or, and I've seen this a few times, maybe they're in the wellness industry but promote products with questionable claims that make you feel ethically compromised. You cannot be the operational leader for a business whose mission or methods you don't believe in. I have a lot of other videos on our YouTube channel and podcasts where I talk about the ideal client, and I make 4 points about this ideal client. I'm not going to go into them, but a big one is this value alignment. It is so critical to have faith in what your client is doing, because that internal conflict, that feeling of being out of integrity, it will drain your soul faster than anything else. And it will poison your passion for the work that you do. No joke. Now, the third sign is they refuse to be led. This is another one of my ideal OBM client things, but they have to be able to delegate and they have to be able to be led. You were hired to be the online business manager, to manage operations, to lead the team. But every time you make a recommendation, they second guess you in front of the team even. They micromanage your every move. They're asking for updates on tasks you completed yesterday. They go around you to give conflicting instructions to team members. I know it sounds crazy. They're creating confusion and completely undermining your authority. That is their goal, is to undermine your authority. And a client who won't trust you to do the job they hired you for is not a partner. They, my friends, are a damn strong roadblock. You cannot lead somebody who refuses to get out of their car and let you drive. Now, the next sign that I see is that, and this is enough, the relationship drains your energy. This, my friends, is a business metric. I want you to start tracking it. After a call or an interaction with a client, do you feel energized and excited, or do you feel exhausted, resentful, and depleted? Do you get a tension headache just from opening your email and seeing something in your inbox from them? Your energy in life and in business is your most valuable asset. It is the fuel for your creativity and your strategic thinking for all of your clients. It's also the thing that you give your family, okay? If one client is consistently costing you more in emotional energy than they are paying you in dollars, and I don't even know if there's a price to put on that, your business is operating at a net loss. Now, the next sign is that you've outgrown them. Simple as that. This isn't anyone's fault. It's a natural part of growth. Maybe you took them on when you were just starting out and your skills and your rates and your strategic abilities have skyrocketed. You're now ready to manage 7-figure launches, but they are still struggling with their first 5-figure month. And the work feels unchallenging and repetitive. So continuing to work with a client like this out of loyalty is actually in fact a disservice to you both. You're holding back from higher level work, and they would be better served by someone who is probably a specialist at their current stage of business. Now, if you're nodding along to 2, 3, or even all 5 of these, you need to take a look at your client roster. And in addition to that, I think that you found your answer. It's time. So now let's talk about how to make the graceful exit, right? Graceful exit protocol. Firing a client doesn't have to be dramatic unless you want it to be, right? Unless you want it to be a bridge burning event, which I do not want that for you. So here is a step-by-step professional plan for respectfully offboarding someone. Now, first things first, review your contract, okay? And I hope you have a contract in place. Before you do anything, pull up your agreement. What does the termination clause say? How much notice are you required to give? 30 days is pretty standard, but knowing your contractual obligations gives you a very firm, logical foundation for this conversation. Then the next plan is to create a transition plan. I do this on my own without involving the client, but the key to a graceful exit is to make the transition as smooth as possible for the client. This not only demonstrates your professionalism to the very end, but your transition plan should be a simple document or dashboard that includes organized access to all the files, a list of recurring tasks and their status, key login information, and a brief video recording using a tool like Loom to screencast and explain any complex processes. This shows them that you aren't leaving them in the lurch. Now, the next step is to script the conversation, because I want you guys coming in feeling easy and breezy. Don't go into this conversation unprepared. Write out exactly what you're going to say. Feel free to use ChatGPT or some other AI tool, but it should be clear, it should be kind, it should be firm, it should be concise. Avoid blaming or listing their faults. It serves nobody, right? And didn't someone ever tell you, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all? Frame the decision as about the professional fit, not their personal failings. I always, and this is one of our mantras inside of OBM school, but you want to leave the business better off than how you found it. So whenever I'm faced with something like this, I always think about it in the context of the business and what the business needs, right? So you could say something like, hey, dear client, I'm reaching out to share an update on our work together. I have so enjoyed being part of your journey to this point, and I've been looking at the strategic direction of my business, and I've realized that my services are evolving in a new direction. Because of that, I've made the difficult decision that I'm no longer the best person to support you in reaching your upcoming goals. Per our contract, I'm giving my 30 days notice, and my last day will be fill in the date. I am fully committed to making this a smooth transition for you, and I've already prepared an offboarding plan to ensure you have everything that you need. And then this is an important step, this next step. Deliver the message calmly. Deliver the news over a call if possible or via email if that is your standard form of communication for important matters. Stick to your script. Be prepared for a reaction. They may be surprised, they may be upset or defensive. Don't make it personal. Do not get drawn into a debate or an argument. Your role is to hold the boundary with calm and confidence. And you definitely don't need to over-explain, or you definitely don't need to justify your decision. If they push for more, simply repeat your core message. I know that this is difficult, dear client, but my decision is firm. My focus now is on ensuring that you have a smooth and successful transition over the next 30 days. So let me tell you a quick story about Erin. She's actually a student that I personally coach with, and I do this from time to time with our accredited students who are scaling agencies. So she is scaling an agency, and she had a client who was the queen of scope creep and disrespect. She would text her on Sunday mornings and expect her to jump. She was one of her first clients and had been with her for 3 or 4 years, and paying a rate that was now less than half of what she charges her new clients. And for some reason, Erin was still terrified to let her go. The final straw was when the client basically belittled her on a team meeting call. And Erin knew then that the cost to her confidence was far greater than the money she was making. And inside of our coaching together, we walked through this graceful exit protocol. She reviewed her contract. She built a beautiful offboarding dashboard in Notion, and she practiced her script with me in our coaching conversations. And then she sent the email. Yes, the client was initially annoyed, but actually Erin was really impressed with how the client was kind of like vanilla and whatever about everything, because that was just part of her vibe. And she ended up thanking Erin for her work. And here's the magical part. The week after she sent that email, before the 30-day period notice was over, she got a referral for a new client, a 7-figure business owner who saw her as a leader from day one, respected her boundaries, paid her premium rate without blinking. Erin told me that she felt, and I know it to be true, she felt like the universe had been waiting for her to make space. Letting go of the wrong clients creates a vacuum, and the right opportunities will rush in to fill it. So if you're finally ready to make that brave decision, we are here to support you. You can find a bunch of practical, easy to use resources linked below this video, or you could head on right over to obmschool.com/resources to grab them all. So grab those resources, and thank you so much for tuning into the OBM Show. If this episode gave you the courage you needed, send it to a fellow OBM who needs to hear it too. Subscribe, leave a review, and remember, your business can only grow to the level that you are brave enough to lead it. I'll see you in the next episode.